any sort of e-commerce, you want to have at least, and I'm talking about at least, like this is as low as it goes, at least $1,000 that you're willing to invest and lose. Because like we just talked about, your first store or product could just be a dud. So you could actually start it and try to get sales from little to no money, but it's really difficult to even make that work. So having $1,000 at least is probably what you're going to have, and you're going to have to be comfortable losing it. So if that's like your life savings, again, I really don't recommend it, because again, you need capital that you can start with and are willing to lose even if it doesn't work, and it can take even longer to make money in general. And next is your personality. So do you enjoy working directly with people, or do you prefer working with systems and processes? Now, another disclaimer that I have to give you guys here is, the whole introvert thing. I hear people hide behind the word introvert a lot. And believe it or not, I'm probably the biggest introvert you've ever met in your life. I didn't want to do any presentations in school, to the point where I would skip school or skip classes just so that I didn't have to do them. And now obviously I have a whole personal brand, which kind of goes against what I used to do, but extroversion is a skill. So again, it's something that you can just learn as you go. If you're still not sure what to do, think about this. Some people come alive in client interactions, while others dread the thought of another Zoom call. The most important thing is starting with a model that matches your current situation, skills, and resources, not the one that sounds the most appealing in theory. The right business model isn't the one with the highest theoretical ceiling. It's the one you'll actually stick with long term and long enough to make it work. So here's why we're going to be focusing on service-based business models in this course. So even if you do decide you wanted to go into something e-commerce, dropshipping, Amazon, FBA, that's fair game. And the things that you're actually going to learn here are still going to help you. And the reason why is because I'm teaching you overall marketing and overall sales, which it doesn't matter what you are doing, what you're in, what business model, you're going to be able to use these skills because they're the most transferable skills in all of business. Like I actually put right here, I've decided to go deep on service-based business models in this course, and there's a good reason for that. So e-commerce is something that's beyond the scope of this very video. Service-based businesses give you the fastest path to real revenue with the lowest upfront investment. If I'm the one here teaching you how to become a millionaire in the future, then obviously that's a broad spectrum of people. So I'm going to cover everything that has to do with marketing and everything that has to do with service-based, because I'm also an expert in that. That is all that I've done to make money, and I've never actually made money personally with anything e-commerce, but I know that it's not usually the most beginner-friendly, even though it's perceived that way online. So like I said, service-based businesses give you the fastest path, and they also let you start making money based on your skills you already have, while teaching you the core business fundamentals that work anywhere. So essentially, you can get paid while you are learning the skills. You can learn while you earn. You don't have to have a freaking marketing degree or anything. You literally just first couple weeks, learn copywriting, learn marketing, learn sales. Then you can have a client that's paying you a few $100s to a few $1,000s per month, and you can learn more as you actually work with that client. And that's the best way to learn, is just by doing. So let's get something straight. It's about why service businesses make the most sense as your starting point. First, the math works immediately. You can literally get paid this week if you have skill that someone needs. There's no inventory, no product development cycles, no waiting months to see if your idea has legs. You offer something, someone pays you, and you're in business. There's also no actual risk. So you're not spending any money to start. You could actually start with $0 today. Second is that the feedback loop is lightning fast. When you work directly with clients, you learn exactly what they want, what they'll pay for, and how to communicate value in ways that open wallets. This real world market education is priceless. Third is that the startup costs are minimal. You don't need fancy technology, inventory, or complex systems to begin. Your brain, a laptop, and an internet connection can be enough to start generating income today. But here's what people miss. Starting with a service business doesn't lock you into that service business forever. It's just the smartest entry point to the business world. You're going to learn how to master some essential transferable skills. The ones needed to build a successful service-based business model are the exact same foundational skills needed in any business model. So let's say you start your service-based business model, you're making a few $1,000s per month in a couple months from now, and you want to start e-commerce, you can actually do that as well. And now you have way better skills to do that. I've actually had students do that before in the past, where they started with copywriting, they made their first thousands of dollars, and then they transitioned over to e-commerce and started making tens of thousands of dollars per month over there as well. The truth about copywriting is this: once you're competent, which happens faster than most realize, clients can't tell the difference between good and great. Get decent, then you learn more skills quickly. All you have to do is show people that you are competent and they will hire you, especially if your low price reflects that, or you're able to give them a risk reversal, which we'll talk about more as we go on. Now, right here, I'm talking about copywriting, but it's essentially all types of marketing. We're going to get into different types of marketing and how to actually start here as we go on. So skill number one that we're going to be learning is understanding what the market actually needs in the first place. Most people build offers based on what they hope that people want. But the thing is, service work forces you to know what people want. When you go face to face with real buyers, vague ideas die fast. You stop guessing because you have to. You start noticing patterns, buying signals, hidden pains, and silent demand. This skill alone is what separates the rich marketers from the broke ones. Number two is effective marketing. So selling services means you got to get sharp fast. You're not hiding behind a funnel or throwing up some template ad. You're talking to real humans one-to-one. If your pitch is weak, they will ghost you. If your angle's off, they'll scroll past. But when you nail it, they lean in. They crave the link. They pay with no questions asked. This is where persuasion stops being a concept and starts becoming survival. Next is sales psychology. Most people suck at sales because they never had to sell one-to-one. Have a service-based business will actually fix that fast. You're not dropping a checkout link and hoping for the best. Why? Because that doesn't predict results. You're on the phone, in the DMs, closing deals one-on-one. You learn what makes someone say, I'm in, what makes them run away. Once you sold with nothing but your words, you'll never be scared to sell anything again. This is why so many people who make a ton of money and start their businesses actually start on things like cold calling and door-to-door sales. It's because it literally molds you into a killer. Skill number four that you're going to be able to pick up is client psychology. So getting paid once is easy. Getting them to pay you again over and over and over, that's the real game. Services teach you how people actually judge what they buy. What makes them happy, what makes them feel like they've gotten the lucky side and actually won the jackpot. You'll start hearing things that no dashboard could ever tell you. Real feedback straight from the source. That intel is how you build offers that people stick with and brag about and give you referrals for. Skill 5 is pricing strategy. So you could charge $50 an hour or $5,000 for a result. Same work, different positioning, entirely different outcome. Service forces you to stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like a strategist. You learn to anchor value, frame ROI, and make your price feel cheap. And when you figure that out, you'll laugh at how people price their products. Number 6, finally, is systems building. At first, it's messy. Too many clients, too many steps, too much in your head. All right, it's not super easy. But then you build systems. Your delivery gets faster, your clients stay happier, and you get your time back. You get to smooth out the entire process from scratch, and you start seeing the real world in SOPs, workflows, and automations. These are just the same skills that scale any business. You don't just build a better service, you build a machine. Now it's time for us to get into the types of service-based businesses that you can start. Yo, what is up, everybody? It's your boy Tice4D, and I'm joined by the one and only beautiful 4D kitty right here. There's actually 2 4D kitties, but today we just got the one with us. So let's get into today's lesson. Yeah, fellow cat owners are gonna know the struggle on this one. You have to keep the lint roller on standby. So today we're gonna be starting by going into the types of service-based businesses. So before we had money and before we had governments, we had services. It all started with services. All business, all comes from services, essentially. One person had a skill, another had a need, trade happened. Value got exchanged, and that's how it all started. The service-based business model is one of the oldest on earth. No rest assured. It's not going anywhere because no matter how advanced tech gets, humans will always pay other humans to solve problems, save time, or do work that they can't or won't do themselves. Essentially, you need to know the difference, and I'm going to get into this a little bit more in the video. As I was saying, you need to understand the difference between a business model and a business method. A business method is something that's essentially just fly by night. It is short term. It is trendy. It is attractive to everybody. And usually people hop from a business method to business method to business method. But instead, we want to pick a reliable business model. A business method is like hyper specific, and it's something that works right now and only right now. But instead, we want to make sure that we're picking something that has been just around forever, will never die out or fade in any type of way. And that is a service-based business. People paying for your time, skills, and effort overall. They're paying to have their problems solved. So there's two main ways to break it down to sell a service. So we had two main ways to make money, which is e-commerce and service. And then inside of service, also two more delineations: freelancing versus agency, aka SMMA, which is social media marketing agency. You might have heard of that before as well. That was popularized by Tai Lopez and then Iman Gaji as well. And then now we have like AI automation agency.